what is a peacock's tail actually for? With its long flowing feathers and bright eye spots, it's hard to argue that this disco chicken wouldn't be near the top of anyone's beauty list. But this surely comes at a cost. I mean, who wants to be lugging that big tail round? Well, this was a question that was shared by Charles Darwin. In a letter to a colleague in 1859, he stated how the sight of a feather in a peacock's tail, whenever I gaze at it, makes me feel sick. This disdain came from the simple fact that the tail seemingly went against his idea of natural selection, the idea that traits best suited for the environment will be passed on. So this bird that needs to fly, having such a weighty tail that acts as a hindrance more than a benefit, put a damper on his idea. But eventually, Darwin came up with an idea around this. Instead of traits being selected for solely by environmental pressures, he came up with the idea of sexual selection, and published this in an 1871 book titled The Descent of Man and Selection About Sex. He said that animals have a need to court or compete for mates in order to pass on their genes. And to do this, they evolve certain traits to make them more attractive, appealing to what he called a taste for the beautiful. And that's the explanation most people use for explaining why the peacock has such a long tail, that it has something to do with attracting mates. And this was backed up by evidence in the beginning. Studies done found that peacocks with more eye spots tended to have more mating success. This also went for males who had brighter eye spots. Along with this, females who mated with these males tended to produce more eggs on average. So, problem solved then, right? The tail is used to attract mates, and the longer the tail, the more success they're gonna have, right? Well, that was the idea until a paper published in 2011 found that while females do indeed go for males with longer tails, they didn't do this very often, to the point it couldn't even be considered a deciding factor in the male's success. Furthermore, a study in 2008 found that peahens do not prefer males with more elaborate tails, finding no correlation between eye spot number or tail length and the individual's success at mating. However, the study did find a correlation between the number of shivers performed. This refers to the dance peacocks perform when showing off their tails, more specifically the, well, shivers they do during it. So it might not necessarily be about how big it is, but how they use it. But the real kicker for the males is the females tend to not even look at these tails. In 2013, a study done by Yorzinski and colleagues tracked the eye movement of peahens during these dances using cameras, turning this already cool bird into something even cooler in my opinion. They found that, despite on rare occasions, the females hardly ever looked at the actual tail of the mates, which has to be disheartening after going through all that effort. So why does the peacock have such a long tail? Well, that answer is still yet to be found. While yes, it does indeed have something to do with mate choice, the reason for why the specific colors, patterns, and movements evolved is an entirely different question. One quote that sums this up perfectly is from the man who inspired this video, Thomas MacGillavry, from a lecture I attended earlier this year. Links to his works will be in the description below. He said that asking why signal design features evolve is different to asking why female mating preferences evolve in the first place.